Okay, so this is a Paramount MX tensioned belt. This is how it's done correctly. When you squeeze it, there obviously is a little bit of play. You can move it, but this is how tight it should be. You don't want it too tight because then you can risk bending the shaft. So the sweet spot is just tight enough that there is no backlash. So when I move the pulley, you can see as little as I move, the belt also moves along with it. But you want it loose enough and tight enough that it can do that, but you also don't want it so tight that you can bend the shaft. So now I'm going to show you how to properly do that. Now we use these tensiometers. I believe that's what they're called. They're around $800. They're really expensive, but this is what we use to get to that ideal tension. You can get pretty close by just making sure that, again, there's no backlash in the belt, and then it's not so tight that there's not a little bit of slack. Or movement, I should say, not slack. So I always loosen these three on the bottom first, as they're the ones that sort of anchor the entire motor, and then this one at the top without the washer note is the pivot point. So I loosen that one last. Now, if you have them all loose enough, you can pivot the motor on that axis. Now this one, I try and leave as tight as possible, but still being able to pivot, and that's fine because that makes the whole process easier. So, you don't need to pull super tight. I use simply 1 or 2 fingers, and just, you don't have to muscle it that much, but I just pull and I tighten this one first because it's the furthest away from the pivot point and anchors it the best, and then use the rest of them and nip them all down, not as tight as they can go, but tight enough that they're not going to move anywhere. That way you can test your tension and see how it is. You want to make sure that the belt can still move. Squeeze it and make sure that there is no backlash.